I always thought my life with Sarah was a masterpiece, a canvas painted with the colors of trust and devotion. We'd been married for 12 years, and every morning I woke up grateful for her laughter, her quiet strength, the way she'd hum old jazz tunes while cooking breakfast. I'm Daniel, a structural engineer by trade, a man who builds things to last: bridges, towers, homes. I thought our marriage was one of those enduring structures, unshakable. Sarah was a freelance illustrator, her days spent sketching whimsical characters for children's books. We lived in a modest house on the edge of Portland, surrounded by pines and the soft hum of a life we'd crafted together. It was a Tuesday in late March when the first crack appeared. I'd come home early from a site inspection, my boots still caked with mud, expecting to surprise her with takeout from that Thai place she loved. The house was quiet, too quiet. No humming, no rustle of her pencil against paper. Her studio door was ajar, and I peeked in, expecting to find her lost in her art. Instead, I saw her laptop open, the screen glowing with a video call. She wasn't there, but the image on the screen stopped me cold. It was Ryan freaking Gosling, the actor, his face unmistakable even through the pixelated haze of a webcam. He was shirtless, lounging on what looked like a hotel bed, grinning in a way that made my stomach twist. I froze, my mind scrambling to make sense of it. Sarah had met him once, years ago, at some charity event in LA she'd been invited to for her illustrations. She'd gushed about it for weeks, but I'd laughed it off. My wife, starstruck, adorable. Now here he was on her screen and she wasn't in the room. I heard the shower running upstairs. My hands shook as I clicked the mouse, minimizing the call. That's when I saw the chat history. Messages, dozens of them, stretching back months. "Can't stop thinking about you," he'd written. "You're my escape," she'd replied. My chest tightened, the takeout bag slipping from my grip, spilling curry onto the floor. The next hour was a blur. I stood there, staring at the screen, reading every word until they burned into my skull. Sarah had been carrying on with Ryan Gosling. Not some random guy from the bar, not a coworker, but a Hollywood icon. It was absurd, unreal, like something out of a twisted movie script. She'd written about meeting him in secret, flying to LA under the guise of work trips. He'd sent her photos, candid shots from film sets, and she'd responded with sketches, intimate ones, her hand tracing his likeness in ways she'd never drawn me. When the shower stopped, I snapped the laptop shut and retreated to the kitchen, my heart pounding. She came downstairs in her robe, her hair damp, smiling like nothing was wrong. "Hey, you're home early," she said, kissing my cheek. I nodded, forcing a grin, the curry still pooling on the studio floor. I couldn't confront her yet. I needed proof, something concrete, something to make this nightmare real. That night, I barely slept, her breathing beside me a cruel reminder of the lie I was living. The next day, I called in sick and dug deeper. I hacked into her email. Years of trust made her passwords predictable. There were plane tickets, hotel receipts, even a burner phone number she'd used to text him. The betrayal wasn't just emotional. It was physical, tangible. A web of deceit spun with a man who could have anyone but chose my wife. I found a photo she'd sent him, one taken in our bedroom, her in lingerie I'd bought her for our anniversary. The rage simmered, but I held it in, plotting. Revenge wasn't just an idea, it was a necessity, a fire I'd stoke until it consumed everything. For weeks, I played the part of the oblivious husband. I cooked dinners, laughed at her jokes, kissed her goodnight, all while the truth gnawed at me. I tracked her every move, installing a keylogger on her laptop, a GPS on her car. She thought she was clever, but I was meticulous. I learned Ryan was in Portland for a film shoot, staying at the Ace Hotel downtown. She'd been sneaking off to meet him, claiming client meetings or girls' nights. Each lie fueled my resolve. One evening, I followed her. She drove to the hotel, her hair pinned up, wearing a dress I hadn't seen before. Red, bold, not her usual style. I parked across the street, watching as she slipped inside. Through the lobby windows, I saw him, Ryan Gosling in the flesh, greeting her with a hug that lingered too long. They disappeared into an elevator, and I sat there, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened. I didn't storm in. I didn't scream. I waited, because revenge isn't loud. It's patient. Back home, I pieced together my plan. Ryan's fame was his armor, but it could be his downfall. Sarah's trust in me was her weakness. I started small, gathering evidence, screenshots, recordings, timestamps. I contacted a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Mitch, who didn't blink at the absurdity of it all. "Hollywood types," he muttered. "Always think they're untouchable." Mitch tailed them, snapping photos of stolen moments. A kiss in a parked car, a late-night walk by the river. Each image was a brick in the wall I'd build to crush them. By mid-April, I had enough to ruin them both, but I wanted more than ruin, I wanted annihilation. Sarah's betrayal wasn't just about Ryan. It was the audacity, the way she'd woven this fantasy while I built our life. I decided to turn their affair into a spectacle, one they couldn't escape. I hacked Ryan's social media. His passwords were laughably weak for a celebrity, and planted subtle hints. A cryptic tweet here, a vague Instagram story there. Enough to stir curiosity without tipping my hand. Meanwhile, I played the doting husband to perfection. I took Sarah out for dinners, bought her flowers, even suggested a weekend getaway she declined, citing deadlines. Her excuses were flimsy, but I let them slide, knowing each lie tightened the noose. Mitch got me audio. Grainy, but damning. Ryan's voice purring her name, her giggling like a schoolgirl. I listened to it on repeat, letting the sound carve my anger into something sharp and precise. The turning point came when I found a letter she drafted but never sent, tucked in her sketchbook. It was to Ryan, confessing she'd leave me if he asked, dreaming of a life in L.A. "Daniel, steady, but you're alive," she wrote. Steady. The word stung, a quiet insult to everything I'd given her. That night, I finalized my plan. It wasn't enough to expose them. I'd make them beg for mercy, then deny it. I'd use Ryan's fame against him and Sarah's pride against her. A double-edged blade forged in silence. The execution began on a rainy Thursday. I leaked the first photo anonymously through a burner account to a gossip site. It was tame, just Ryan and Sarah at a cafe, but the caption hinted at more. Golden Boy's secret muse? The internet buzzed, fans speculating, while I watched Sarah scroll her phone, oblivious. I fed the fire slowly, dripping evidence like poison, audio clips to a podcast, hotel receipts to a tabloid. Within days, Ryan's team was scrambling, issuing denials that only fanned the flames. Sarah noticed the shift. "Have you seen this nonsense online?" she asked, laughing nervously. I shrugged, feigning disinterest, while inside I savored her unease. The world was closing in, and she didn't even know I held the reins. Mitch got me footage from a hotel security camera. Blurry, but clear enough to show them tangled in a hallway, oblivious to the lens. I saved it for the finale, the blow that would shatter their illusion. My revenge was a symphony, each note building to a crescendo. I wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. They'd feel the weight of every lie, every stolen moment, until their perfect little world collapsed. And I'd be there watching, the architect of their undoing. The rain hadn't stopped by the weekend, a gray curtain over Portland that matched the storm brewing inside me. Sarah was jittery now, her phone buzzing constantly with notifications she tried to hide. I'd escalated the leaks. Another photo hit the web, this one of her slipping into Ryan's hotel room, time-stamped and undeniable. The gossip sites were ravenous, and his fans were turning, their adoration souring into betrayal. I watched her pace the kitchen, muttering about crazy rumors, while I sipped my coffee, silent as stone. Mitch called that afternoon with a goldmine. Ryan's publicist had reached out to Sarah, begging her to stay low, to stop contacting him until the mess blew over. I'd intercepted the email, of course. Her security was child's play to me now. "They're rattled," Mitch said, his voice gruff with satisfaction. "He's got a premiere next week. Timing's perfect." I smiled for the first time in days. Perfect didn't even cover it. I wanted Ryan on that red carpet, smiling for the cameras, while the ground crumbled beneath him. That night I upped the ante. Using a VPN and a string of fake accounts, I posted the audio clip, the one where he called her my muse in that honeyed tone. It went viral within hours, the internet dissecting every syllable. Sarah's name wasn't out yet, but the speculation was closing in. She came to bed late, her face pale, and I pretended to sleep, listening as she whispered into her phone, pleading with someone, him I assumed, to fix it. Fix it. The thought almost made me laugh. There was no fixing what I'd set in motion. By Monday, the affair was a full-blown scandal. Ryan's team released a statement claiming the audio was manipulated, but the damage was done. Blogs ran wild with theories, and a few sharp-eyed fans had dug up Sarah's social media, connecting dots I'd left dangling like bait. I watched her unravel, her hands trembling as she scrolled through the chaos. "This is insane," she said over breakfast, her voice thin. "Someone's targeting him." I nodded, feigning concern, while my mind churned with the next move. I met Mitch at a diner across town, the air thick with grease and cigarette smoke. He slid a USB drive across the table, hours of footage, including that hallway clip. "You sure about this?" he asked, eyeing me like I was a bomb about to blow. I was, and I didn't care who got caught in the blast. "Keep digging," I told him. "I want his schedule, his calls, everything." Mitch grunted, pocketing my cash, and I drove home with the drive burning a hole in my jacket. That evening, I edited the footage, sharpening the grainy frames until their faces were crystal clear. I didn't release it, not yet. Instead, I sent Sarah an anonymous email from a throwaway account. A still from the video, her in that red dress with a single line, "The world will know soon." She didn't mention it, but I saw the panic in her eyes, the way she jumped at every ping from her phone. She thought she could outrun it, but I'd built this trap too well. Every step she took sank her deeper. Tuesday brought a shift I hadn't expected. Ryan called her. I tapped her burner phone by then, a trick Mitch taught me. His voice was tight, angry. "You said you'd be discreet," he snapped. "This is ruining me." Sarah sobbed, begging him to believe her, swearing she hadn't leaked anything. I listened through my earbuds, hidden in the garage, and felt a twisted satisfaction. He was turning on her, just as I'd hoped. Divide and conquer. Let them tear each other apart before I delivered the killing blow. She came to me that night, fragile and teary, spinning a story about work stress. "I might need to get away for a bit," she said, testing me. I played along, all sympathy and soft words, suggesting she take a spa day instead. "You deserve a break," I said, my voice steady while my mind screamed. A break. She'd had plenty of those with him. After she went to bed, I uploaded the hallway video to a dark web forum, letting it fester there, knowing it'd surface soon enough. The internet was a beast I'd unleashed, and it was hungry. The next morning, she packed a bag, claiming a last-minute job in Seattle. I kissed her goodbye, my lips cold against hers, and watched her drive off. The GPS tracker pinged her location, straight to the Ace Hotel. She couldn't stay away from him even now. I spent the day refining my endgame, a plan so cruel it almost scared me. Almost. They'd built their castle on lies. I'd bury them in the rubble. The video hit mainstream sites by Wednesday night, a tidal wave of pixels that drowned their denials. Ryan and Sarah, caught in that hallway, their intimacy splashed across screens worldwide. His premiere was 2 days away, and the press was merciless. Headlines screamed about his mystery woman, her face now plastered everywhere. Sarah's phone was off, but I knew she was with him, probably huddled in his suite, plotting damage control. I didn't care. The world saw her now not as my wife, but as his scandal. I drove downtown, parking near the hotel, and watched the chaos unfold. Paparazzi swarmed the entrance, fans shouted betrayal, and I sat there, invisible, the architect of it all. My phone buzzed, Mitch with Ryan's itinerary. He'd be at the premiere in LA, then a press junket. Perfect. I'd hit him where it hurt most. His career, his pride. Sarah would feel it too. Her quiet life shattered. Her name a punchline. Back home, I crafted the final piece. Using her own sketches, the ones she'd sent him. I mocked up a fake, tell-all blog post, her voice confessing every detail. The trips, the promises, the betrayal. I made it raw, messy, believable. I didn't publish it yet. I wanted her to see it first, to feel the dread of her own words turned against her. She'd built a fantasy with him, but I'd make it a nightmare she couldn't wake from. Thursday morning, Sarah came home, her eyes red, her suitcase dragging behind her. "It's a mess," she whispered, collapsing on the couch. "Someone's out to get us." The word twisted the knife deeper. I hugged her, murmuring comfort, while my laptop hummed with the fake blog post ready to launch. "We'll get through it," I lied, stroking her hair. She didn't suspect me, not yet, but the cracks were showing. That afternoon, I sent her the draft, another anonymous email. "This goes live tomorrow unless you confess." She read it in the kitchen, her gasp audible, and I watched from the doorway, pretending confusion. "What's wrong?" I asked. She stammered, claiming a work threat, but her lies were crumbling. I left her there, shaken, and drove to a print shop, turning her sketches into posters. Intimate, humiliating images of Ryan, captioned with her words. The premiere was tomorrow. I'd be there, not in person, but through every screen, every whisper. I'd flood LA with those posters, let the crowd see their golden boy stripped bare. Sarah would watch it unfold, helpless, her betrayal a public execution. My revenge was nearly complete, a masterpiece of pain I'd engineered with cold, steady hands. They'd feel every ounce of what they'd done to me, and then some. Friday dawned cold and clear, the day of Ryan's big premiere. I'd barely slept, my mind buzzing with the final strokes of my plan. Sarah was a ghost in the house, moving silently, her phone clutched like a lifeline. She thought she could weather this storm, that the worst had passed with the video leak. She had no idea I was the hurricane still gathering strength. I kissed her forehead before leaving for work, my voice steady, my heart a furnace of rage. I'd coordinated with a crew Mitch hooked me up with. Shady types who didn't ask questions. They hit LA that morning, plastering my posters across the city. Sarah's sketches of Ryan, her handwritten notes scrawled beneath them, private moments turned public. "My muse," one read, paired with a drawing of him lounging shirtless. Another, more damning, "I'd leave him for you," with her signature unmistakable. By noon, social media was ablaze. The premiere's red carpet overshadowed by this fresh wave of humiliation. I monitored it all from a burner laptop at a coffee shop, sipping black coffee as the world tore them apart. Ryan's team canceled his press appearances, but the damage was irreversible. Fans chanted outside the theater, not in adoration, but in anger. Sarah called me, her voice trembling. "It's everywhere, Daniel. My drawings. Someone stole them." I feigned shock, promising to come home soon, while I watched paparazzi swarm the hotel where she'd last met him. She was trapped, and I'd locked the cage. When I got home, Sarah was a wreck, curled on the couch with a glass of wine she hadn't touched. The TV blared coverage of the premiere. Ryan walking the carpet, his smile strained, dodging questions about the artist. Her name was out now, linked forever to his fall. "How did this happen?" she whispered, not really asking me, but I answered anyway. "People find out secrets eventually," I said, my tone neutral, my eyes on her. She flinched but didn't look up. I'd saved the fake blog post for this moment. While she showered, I uploaded it from her own laptop, backdated to look like she'd posted it days ago. It was brutal, her confession of sneaking around, of dreaming of a life with him, of mocking our marriage. I sent the link to every major outlet, every fan site, with an anonymous tip. "She's breaking her silence." By the time she dried off, it was trending. She saw it on her phone, her scream echoing through the house. "Daniel, this isn't me," she cried, shoving the screen in my face. "Someone's framing me." I played dumb, suggesting a hacker, offering to call the police. She refused, too panicked to think straight. I watched her crumble, piece by piece, as friends texted her in shock, as her clients dropped her, as Ryan's silence confirmed he'd cut her loose. My revenge wasn't just exposure. It was isolation, stripping her of everything she'd clung to. Saturday morning, the fallout was apocalyptic. Sarah's career was ashes. Publishers canceled contracts. Her online portfolio flooded with hate. Ryan's film tanked. The premiere a footnote to his disgrace. I stayed home, supporting her, while she paced, muttering about lawsuits, about finding the culprit. I nodded, brewed tea, waited. The trap was tightening, and she still didn't see me holding the strings. Mitch called with a final gift. Ryan's voicemails, hacked from his assistant's phone. Desperate pleas to Sarah, then furious rants blaming her for the leaks. I played them for her that afternoon, claiming I'd found them online. "Listen to this," I said, pressing play. His voice filled the room, venomous. "You ruined me, Sarah. I should have known you'd screw this up." She collapsed, sobbing, as the man she'd betrayed me for turned on her too. I stood over her, expression soft, insides cold as steel. That night, I delivered the next blow. I'd hired a lawyer weeks ago, papers drawn up in secret. I slid them across the table. Divorce, irreconcilable differences, a generous settlement she'd never accept once she realized the truth. "I can't do this anymore," I said, my voice breaking just enough to sell it. "All this chaos. It's too much." She stared, stunned, as if I'd slapped her. "You're leaving me now?" she whispered. I nodded, walking away, leaving her to drown in the wreckage I'd built. Sunday, I moved out, a small apartment already rented under a friend's name. Sarah begged me to stay, swearing she'd explain everything, but I was done listening. The divorce papers were a feint. My real revenge was still unfolding. I drained our joint accounts, funneling the money into an offshore trust she'd never find, leaving just enough to keep her scrambling. Her art supplies, her laptop, her sketches. I'd had them stolen by Mitch's crew, dumped in a landfill. She had nothing left but the house, a hollow shell like our marriage. The final leak dropped that evening. A montage of their affair, stitched from every scrap I'd collected. Photos, texts, audio, video. I released it through a fake whistleblower account, titled The Muse's Truth. It was relentless, a 2-hour testament to their deceit, ending with her blog post as the credits rolled. The internet exploded, burying them deeper. Ryan's career was a smoking crater. Sarah's identity was a punchline. I watched the views climb from my new place, a glass of bourbon in hand, the weight of 12 years lifting with every click. She called, hysterical, accusing me of abandoning her. "I didn't do this, Daniel. You have to believe me." I hung up, blocking her number. She'd figure it out eventually, maybe, but by then I'd be gone, a ghost she'd never catch. My revenge wasn't just about pain. It was about erasure, wiping them from my life like they'd never existed. A week later, I sat in a bar in Seattle, a new city, a new name on my lease. The news had moved on, but Sarah and Ryan were still trending, their names synonymous with scandal. She tried to fight back, posting a tearful video denying it all, but the evidence was too damning, my handiwork too thorough. Friends told me she'd sold the house, moved somewhere small, her life a shadow of what it was. Ryan retreated from the spotlight, his charm tarnished, his future uncertain. I didn't gloat, not outwardly. Inside, though, I felt a quiet triumph, a satisfaction as solid as the bridges I'd built. They'd taken everything from me. Trust, love, years, and I'd returned the favor tenfold. I'd used their own desires against them, turned their affair into a weapon that cut deeper than any blade. Was it cruel? Maybe. But it was justice, my kind of justice, forged in silence and executed with precision. I finished my drink, left a tip, and stepped into the night. The air was crisp, the slate clean. I'd rebuild, not for her, not for anyone, but for me. They'd never know I was the storm that broke them. Sarah might suspect, but proof was ash in the wind. I walked away, free, while they carried the wreckage I'd left behind. That was enough. That was everything.